obviously standing on the train tracks down on White Rock, and I thought, fuck, if that train comes, they're screwed. There's no way the train was going to win on that one. So with that said, I grew up in North Burnaby, so I'm local for the most part. And we never know if it's Tsawwassen or Tsawwassen. He's looking at me like, just don't call me sir, you asshole. Burnaby burnouts, yes. Burnaby North, and when they got sick of me, they sent me over to Alpha. And then they got sick of me and sent me to Central, and I said, all right, let's finish this shit up. Yeah, we aren't as young as we like to think we are. We definitely aren't as young as we once were, but again, going back to kids these days and how irritating they are. And I used to think it was really cruel for parents to have their young kids on leashes. Now I'm at an age I look and ask if they can order muzzles with the leash. Half the time it's for the parents too. You hear them just, it's just, they're worse than the kids in some cases. They all complain about, being entitled to this and that. None of the kids want to actually work. I'm on a film set and we know that it is December in Vancouver and people, the young ones are there whining. We're getting tired, we're getting wet, we're getting cold. And it's like, well, what the hell did you expect when it's raining when you left the house? Did you think you were traveling, to Sunshine Coast in Brazil at this point? But they'll whine, and it's like you knew that you were going to work 12 hours. Well, I thought they meant this week, not in a row. I tell you, they just don't like to do that. And what's with coloring their hair, all these bright colors? It looks like the Kool-Aid man shit on their head. Somebody had a pack of Skittles that exploded, and now their hair is just permanently that way. I just don't get that. And all of these tattoos everywhere. And that just drives me nuts. And vape pens, don't even get me started on the vape pens. I like my cancer the old-fashioned way, though. Through a cigarette without it exploding in my face, that is good for me. People always tell me, you're a smoker, you gotta quit smoking, it'll kill you, it's gonna give you lung cancer. And I just say, do you know what? Everybody in my family dies of colon cancer. So I'm at a higher risk with the politicians blowing their smoke up my ass than I am the cigarettes. And that's just the way it is. So they tell me to quit smoking, all that fun stuff, and it's like, whatever. My ex-wife, she used to just bitch at me all the time, and then we broke up and she started smoking. So I don't know what's up with that, but as I was saying, I've got to lose some weight, and I put a lot on when I was married. People say, oh, she was a great cook. I said, no, she was a lazy bitch. I had to eat out at the restaurants all the time, fast food. And the only time that she'd raise her ass off the couch is after sleeping with the Pillsbury Doughboy and getting a yeast infection. It would raise her ass off the couch for the first time in months. But what do you do, right? When you look at going back to how things have changed, and now you've got any vegans here? Good. I don't get it. They want you to eat only the fruits and vegetables, but then they worry about the animals. And it's like, well, if I eat them all, what are they going to eat? They're going to starve. So, it reminds me of when I was a kid, my mom always threatened to send, the leftovers to Africa because there's kids starving there. And I just went, go for it. Now I'm thinking, when I'm asked, well, why aren't you having salad? I just say, because I'm worried about the rabbits in Africa. Send it to them. And now they've got this almost beef, almost bacon, almost turkey. I'm going to start selling big bottles of water for $8.95 and call it almost milk. And then they've got almond milk. I feel bad for the people that have got to sit there milking those little almonds. They say that keeping all these animals in captivity is cruel and we should release them back to the wild. And I, for one, personally have never seen a wild cow. Where the hell are we going to set those free? How about you? See? I'm not the only one. Where the hell are we going to release all the cows? We had those, it sounds like my phone ringing, but that's all right. Get it on remote here and we'll just answer it and let you guys talk to them. We'll just pass it around the room and have some fun with it. It's probably my my brother and his son coming back on the ferry. They were going to try to make it on the early ferry to get here, but they were working, so they had to catch the ferry over there. I think it was the Queen of Overtime. And so BC Ferries, of course, you know, you had those guys doing the drugs on there the other day and freaking out. You guys hear about that? So yeah, delayed the ferry for hours. One guy stripped down naked and was running around throwing stuff around the car deck. And then the other guy they were looking for, they thought maybe he went overboard, but it turns out they reviewed video footage and he just walked off with the walk-off passengers, just blended himself in. But I'm assuming that he was probably high too, because he got into a taxi and took it right to his front door. GPS, guess who came to visit him afterwards? And it wasn't the taxi driver. But with that said, all these people now that can openly smoke marijuana, who smokes weed here? Come on, it's legal now. You're allowed to admit it. Yeah, all these people smoking weed now. It's one thing that pisses me off is when they're smoking the weed and driving. And then they get these roaches and they throw them out the windows as if we don't have enough fucking potholes in our roads already. These guys are adding to it. It's like the friends of mine that argue they're better drivers when they're smoking weed because they're paying more attention, and I just turn and say, we're going to put the car in drive? I want to mess with them and just screw up their odometer, tape it at about 180 so that it just stays there even when they get in the car, not going anywhere. They can feel like they're going, because they just aren't. But it reminds me of this time I was walking through the forest and I smelled something really bizarre, and I looked up and there was a bear up there smoking a joint. And along comes this little iguana, and he looks up and goes, "Hey bear, what are you doing?" Bear looks down, he's like, "Hey iguana, I'm smoking a joint, man, come on up." So the iguana goes up and smokes some of the joint with the bear, and he looks over and says, "Bear, I got really bad cotton mouth, I gotta go get some water." So he wanders down, he gets to the river, he starts drinking and falls in. An alligator swimming by sees the poor little bugger and gets him on his snout, throws him back on shore and says, "Iguana, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, there was the bear in the tree, I was smoking a joint with him, got thirsty," and you know, he totally lost the alligator. He's still stuck on the fact that the bear's smoking a joint. So he says, "I gotta see this, where is it?" So the iguana tells him where to go, and he gets there, and he looks up, and the alligator's going, "Hey bear!" The bear looks down and says, "Holy shit, iguana, how much water did you drink, man?" I think Tim Hortons should get Timbits that are infused with marijuana. Nice chocolate ones, put a yellow stripe around them, and then just stick your finger in them, and those could be potholes too, right? It would sure make it better when you're driving down the street and you realize that your drive-through order's been screwed up. At least then, if you've got those in there, you don't give a shit about anything else. Can you get some water? Mr. Iguana, how much did you drink, man? So, these days, you know, plastic surgery and all those things seem to be such a trend in Hollywood and other places, and younger people are getting them. But the thing that really puzzles me now is these people that are getting the ass implants. I mean, it's bad enough the breast implants, but you know, that I can understand. But ass implants, do they not consider, again, when you get older, where are these ass implants going to be? They're going to know what it's like for us poor guys walking around tripping on our balls, right? They're going to be the big sacks there. But, you know, the one thing that I always say to guys is that they're like,